Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of the 2024-25 season, episode 103 of the 72 review. And this is where we round up League Two. We grade all of the teams like we have done in League One and the Championship. We'll also take a look back at our pre-season predictions for League Two, and it's not very pleasant reading. We'll have a look at the Fantasy EFL Playoff Mini League. But first, we will touch on the three playoff finals that have been played this weekend. It's a dynamic duo in this evening. I'm 18 Dapradu, stuff for Doncaster Rovers, matchday vlogs, previews, the usual stuff. Next Saturday is the Eve Merton Dreams Trust charity game, Doncaster Rovers Legends versus Manchester United Legends. Link to the donation page is in the chat. I will just get it up on the screen. But yeah, that's me. I will pass over to Ian. Let people know who you are, what you do, and why you do it, mate.
Don't let the shirt fool you. I just collect football shirts. I'm a Rotherham United season ticket holder that I've just renewed for the 25-26 season. I will always renew regardless of which season it is and how we're doing. When the Millers are away, I'm around the country vlogging for my YouTube channel, which I think Dan's put in the description as well.
It is indeed. I've got Neil, regular from this season in the chat, Evening Deadly Duo. Good evening, Neil. We are all looking forward to League One next season. We've got Chal in as well. Good evening. Just launched his first show of the season tonight. 2025-26 is a huge year. Looking forward to it, mate. We'll check that video out shortly. So nice watching the playoffs as a neutral this season with no stress. Yeah, it is very, very nice.
Yeah.
So as always, get your comments in the chat. It does drive the conversation quite a bit. We're going to make a start though with a huge congratulations, as Ian's banner says. Congratulations to Black Cat, Sunderland, Charlton, and Wimbledon on your promotions from League Two, League One, and the Championship. So Sunderland back in the Premier League, 2-1 win over Sheffield United. It was tight, wasn't it? Well, probably
it was very tight.
I think Sheffield United, had they taken the chances, it could have been done and dusted. But you just knew that one opportunity for Sunderland to get back into it, it just completely flipped the game, didn't it?
It did, yes, without a doubt. I mean, obviously I'm attracting some comments here, but I think the disallowed goal for the player, letting the keepers in the keeper's line of sight. I'm sorry, but that's rubbish. That is complete, utter rubbish. That goal, in my opinion, should have stood. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I think if the player had got a touch and wrong-footed the keeper, possibly. But, yeah, it was rubbish. I mean, the Blades did miss some gilt-edged chances. The one for Andre Brooks in the second half, which... you've got to give Anthony Patterson, the Sunderland keeper, a lot of credit, because two of the saves he pulled off, especially the one from keeper Moore's header, were out of this world. It reminded me a little bit David Seaman's save against Sheffield United in the Cup for Arsenal a few years ago, because the ball seemed to be behind him and he clawed it out. They were just unbelievable saves.
Yeah. I'll just do 1 second. The gaffer has asked for a battery for the camera. Carry on talking here and I'll be back.
Right, okay. The goals, really good goal for the Blades. Gus Hamer, I don't think he'll be at Bramall Lane next season. I think he's Premier League quality. A blistering run down the left-hand side. He's got some pace, that lad. And then a thread needle ball to Tyrese Campbell, who finished very well. 1-0. And it were all the Blades in the first half, apart from one or two sporadic Sunderland attacks. But as Dan said, the equaliser that came out of nowhere, and it was really well finished. But nobody saw it was coming because it was still Blades in the ascendancy. Yeah. But after that goal hit the back of the net, the complete game flipped. From that moment on, from 75 minutes, there were only one team going to win that. And I've got to give Watson a lot of credit, the way he finished that. The way he finished that. It came to him from a Kiefer Moore mistake. But the way, I mean, he were outside the box and he passed it into the goal.
Yeah, he's caressed it
I
into
mean,
the bottom corner, hasn't
he
he?
just caressed
Lovely
it, and
finish.
if you saw the trajectory of the ball, it just sort of bent inside the post just at the last second. And limbs were out of this world, weren't it?
Yeah, I don't know if
I
you've
think
seen the video
the-
on social media from kind of behind the goal, from the opposite goal to what it went in. It's kind of a slow motion, showing him running up and then passing the ball into the bottom corner. And although I'm not a Sunderland fan, I must have watched it 10, 20 times, goosebumps every
Yeah.
single time, because you zone in on different people each time you watch it, and you just see the emotion. You just see there's people with their hands on their headers is running up and then just going absolutely crazy when it goes in. And that's what football's all about, isn't it?
We did mention emotion last week when we saw the Palace fans that hadn't seen them win a trophy for decades. You know,
Yeah.
the middle-aged ones crying and whatnot. It was exactly the same for Sunderland. But
Yeah.
I must admit, the limbs when Ballard's goal went in against Coventry were even better than that.
Yeah.
Because the Stadium of Light didn't just erupt, it exploded. And I've seen loads of YouTube videos about that one, and it's just incredible.
Yeah. They're a decent addition to the Premier League, aren't they?
They're a very, very big club. They deserve to be in the Premier League, but unfortunately, to be quite honest, I mean, you've got to give Sunderland a lot of credit because they've done it without parachute payments.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing. But the thing is, they're going to have to invest really heavily just to stand still in the Premier League. I mean, they could use
difficult, isn't it?
There's 3 clubs I could use as an example of how to do it right: Forest, Brentford, and Bournemouth. Both comparatively small clubs punching well above the weight. It can be done. But as you saw last season, all 3 promoted clubs went down again. And that could happen again, but who knows?
Yeah, like you say, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. They're going to have to recruit really, really well for all 3 of those clubs that have gone up: Leeds, Burnley, and Sunderland, to even stand a chance of maintaining their Premier League status. It's a huge ask to kind of bridge that gap between the 2 divisions, but hopefully one of those 3 or more than one of those 3 does bridge the gap and stays in the Premier League, mixes it up a bit.
I think of the 3, the club that stand the best chance of surviving is Leeds.
I'd agree. Yeah. As much as it pains me.
Yeah.
But all 3 are a loss to the 72. So if we do come back, it's not a bad thing for us. Moving on to League One, Leyton Orient against Charlton. A wonderful free kick to settle this matter. And Charlton are back in the Championship after a number of years away.
Yeah, I think Charlton deserve it because I think Nathan Jones, you might have your opinions on him, but he's put together a very good squad who play good open attacking football, and the recruitment of Matt Godden from Coventry has been a masterstroke. He's a poacher in the old style poaching road. You know, a bit like I would compare him to probably Adam Lafondra. Anything in the 6-yard box, he can put away. He can put away. He's really good. Defensively, the sound. They've got a decent keeper. They've got very few weak areas.
Yeah.
Although I must admit, though, and I mean, I'll give Leyton Orient a lot of credit. They ran them very, very close. They had opportunities of their own. They hit the woodwork. Orient have got to be careful that they don't suffer a hangover from this, because I'm going back to 2014 when we beat them in the playoff final, in the League One playoff final on penalties. They got relegated the season after. and then they got relegated again and ended up in the National League.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen again. I think Leyton Orient are too good a club to let that happen again. They're going to lose players, I would think. I can't see Charlie Kelman being there next season. I think one or two of their players, Gilbraith's another one, who have done that well this season. I think some championship clubs will be looking very, very hard at them.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Kelman will go back to QPR, and I think
he were on loan.
I think Championship.
Yeah,
I think he'll get an opportunity at QPR after the season that he's had at Leyton Orient.
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, QPR's problem this last season has been putting the ball in the net. So I think Kelman can help with that.
Certainly could.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned the three teams that have gone up from the Championship to the Premier League, and kind of expectations of them next season. Possibly Leeds, maybe Sunderland and Burnley, if they recruit really well, could retain or maintain their Premier League status.
I'd like to see it happen that all three do. It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
But the three teams that are going up into the Championship, Birmingham, Wrexham and Charlton, how do you fancy their chances in the Championship? For me, I think Birmingham, obviously, they've got the resources and money. I think Charlton are really well set up, and maybe few additions should make them safe. Wrexham as well, resources to recruit well.
I would confidently predict all three to survive.
Yeah,
I think they will. I think Birmingham possibly top 10.
Yeah.
Wrexham around the same area. And I think if Charlton go lower middle table but survive, I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I can see Charlton doing similar to what Portsmouth have done, finishing like 16th, something like that, around that sort of area.
Exactly. I mean, this season, we did say it on the thing that it would have been a success for Pompey. And I think if Charlton do something similar,
I'd agree.
And I think they're quite good enough to do that,
Yeah. We do have a Sunderland fan in the chat. We've done it. Congratulations. I hope your head's not too sore after the celebrations this weekend. I hope you enjoy the Premier League. But what he said is recruitment needed to stay up. But you can't complain with £230 million for winning the playoffs. Thanks for the live streams this season. Have a nice summer break. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Thank you.
Although you're not part of the 72, you are more than welcome to join in next season. But if you don't, I'm sure there's plenty of Premier League live streams and chats out there that you can jump onto for at least a season. But yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the promised land, the top flight of English football. Maybe.
Yeah.
Donny will get
saving up for the ticket prices.
Nathan said that Jamie Jealous has had a nightmare on social media. I'm going to have to check that out. I'm not really seeing anything on that, but we will certainly check that out. The final playoff final was done today. Wimbledon, Walsall. We've already seen a few people mention Walsall's drop off, but Wimbledon did what Wimbledon have done all season, defended really well, got the goal that they needed to go in front, and performed well to keep hold of that lead. There's been tight games all season that they've come out on top of. And
I think this one today was possibly the easiest one to predict, a 1-0 Wimbledon win, because they get the goal, they defend like lions, they're organised. That Riley Harbottle, he didn't only score the winning goal, he also cleared one off the line late on.
He did.
That's a man of the match performance. I like Johnny Jackson. I like all the way he sets teams up. He did fairly well at Charlton. He was a club legend there as a player.
Yeah. But
he did fairly well there. Probably a bit unfairly treated. But he's picked his career back up at Wimbledon, and they're deservedly promoted. And they're very hard to break down. And if they can keep the nucleus of that team, I think one or two attacks in League One are going to struggle against them. I think that Matty Stevens, the top scorer, has gone off the boil a little bit as far as putting the ball in the net is concerned. But again, like we've touched on already, recruitment's going to have to be the key, because they're going to have to strengthen. They're going to have to be better to survive in League One, and I think that goes for all the promoted clubs.
Yeah, we were talking before we came live. I mean, we've said that it's going to be a tough ask for Leeds, Burnley, and Sunderland to stay in the Premier League. We're a bit more confident on the teams that have gone up from League One to Championship. It can go either way for the 4 teams that are promoted from League Two.
Absolutely.
I think it could be really good seasons for Donny, Port Vale, Bradford, and Wimbledon. Like I say, if they get the recruitment right, it's going to be an extremely tight division. You said before we came live that we think there might be 7 points separating playoffs to the bottom 4. Sorry. So yeah, it could be extremely tight, and a couple of wins will kind of catapult you up the table. So
exactly.
It's going to be tough to call if Donny, Port Vale, Bradford, or Wimbledon perform well in League One next season.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we wish them all the best, but there's
Yeah.
at least one of possibly 2 of those promoted clubs, and I'm not going to upset the fan base by saying which ones might struggle.
Yeah.
But there's not that much money flying about in League One now that Birmingham and Wrexham have left. So there's not any 1 or 2 teams that have got so much more money than any other.
It feels like it's going to be a lot more of a level playing field going into next season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Other than, I mean, there's Luton's parachute payments, but like you said before we went live, we think that they may be kind of earmarked for the new stadium, so it won't be funds to spend on players. So yeah, it might be a bit more level. Neil said that Max Power's a superb signing for Bradford. Rumoured that Matty Pearson on a free from Huddersfield. So yeah, solid League One defender, and Max Power's a decent player as well.
To be honest, I mean, I don't know what's going on at Huddersfield, but players are queuing up to get out of there.
Yeah.
And Pearson is a solid performer, especially at League One level. He'll be excellent.
Yeah. Lovely stuff. So that's the playoffs done and dusted. Congratulations to the 3 teams that have been promoted. There's only 1 place left in the 72 to allocate, and that's going to go to Southend or Oldham. For me, I fancy Oldham. A bit more local, and I think that's the only reason. Two very good teams.
Absolutely. I mean, I would prefer Oldham out of the 2 of them. But the thing that's delighted me is that the 2 traditional ex-EFL clubs who will be welcomed back with open arms, either Oldham or Southend.
Yeah.
They've both been in non-league for a few years now, and it's been nice to see them back.
Yeah.
Even though Boundary Park is rightfully called Ice Station Zebra, because it was always known as the coldest ground in the Football League.
It is freezing there. I do feel a word on York though. I do feel sorry for them. Obviously, I think they finished on 96 points,
and didn't get promoted.
And I think Southend finished on like 68 or something. A ridiculous gap between the 2. There's an argument for 3.
What I can't understand is that the playoff semi-finals, the team that came second and third had the home advantage, but why is it just 1 leg?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because that gives, you would think that gives the home teams, York and Forest Green, a massive advantage, but it didn't, did it?
No, both got beaten. Yeah.
I mean, either or for Southend or Oldham. I'd prefer Oldham, but if Southend got back, I'm not going to be heartbroken.
No, there is an argument for 3 up, 3 down, but I don't know how I sit with that. I think the EFL should be a difficult club to get into, and I think you need that fear of dropping out of it, because it's going to be tough to get back into it. And effectively, the 72 across the 3 divisions it's like an invite only club, isn't it? And you've got to perform to the best of your abilities to be included in that 72. So to have it 3 up, 3 down, it could kind of devalue that prize of being part of the EFL. Maybe
I think it might well happen one day.
Yeah.
What I think it might well happen. It could do. Personally, I'd leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Hey, John. I'd leave it as it is, but having said that, obviously the National League executives are going to keep putting the pressure on the EFL.
Yeah.
Who knows what can happen in the future? Anything good.
Stay tuned in the summer, because I may have a video that looks at the restructuring of the English football pyramid. I had conversations with lads at work, and we've got our heads together, and we've put something together, which, if I can get it into a decent video that's not too long, I will.
Yeah. That'd be interesting, that.
Yeah. Might be a load of crap and not taken on board, but it's it's just an idea. Okay, so moving on to League Two and our grading. If you've watched the other two, episode 101 and 102, you'll have seen us grade all of the Championship and all of League One. We go from A+ down to E. A+ is overachieved, and A is performed very well. B is performed well. C is achieved expectation. D is underachieved, and E is a dreadful season. So just because you've been promoted or relegated doesn't naturally give you an A+ or an E. It does depend on kind of where everybody expected the club to be. So we'll use Plymouth as an example. We're relegated from the Championship. They only got a D because it was kind of survival was their expectation. It wasn't a dreadful season. They kind of did what was expected. So if you're a fan of any League Two club, please don't take our grading personally. By all means, get in the chat and tell us why we're wrong and why we should move you. And you never know, we may move you, but we've got to agree on the grading between me and Ian as well. So there was arguments on some of them last week. We'll see if it's a little bit easier to do League Two. Starting from bottom to top, as we have done all for all 72 teams. We start with Morecambe, who unfortunately finished 24th. Where are you thinking for these, Ian?
I'm sorry. I mean, it's got to be. It just has to be. It breaks my heart because I like Morecambe. It's a great away day, and they're a lovely little club. But the back room has been a mess all season. Derek Adams has had to perform with his hands tied, and they've just underperformed. Horribly underperformed.
Yeah.
I can't. What do you think?
I was leaning towards kind of D because they've had quite a lot of off-field issues, and I don't think he's had really the players to work with the quality.
No. He hasn't been able to sign anybody either.
No, and I think they weren't battered in any game really. They were fairly competitive. They didn't have enough in them to win enough games, and I think that was due to the quality of the players that he had at his disposal. But I think I was leaning towards like a low D because I think we had them kind of mid-table. So for them to go down rock bottom, I think it's a low D, high E for me. And yeah, Neil said it as much as he hates to say it. Derek Adams did a great job considering all the off-pitch things holding him back. Signing players, D for Neil. I was kind of between.
To be honest, you've changed my mind. Yeah, I think probably D. Yeah.
There we go.
Because I do like them as a club.
Yeah, I just think like I say, if they've been getting battered 3-4-0 more often than not, but it was like 1 goal in it. I mean, I think we beat them 1-0, and they looked fairly compact. They just didn't quite have enough to see games through. But yeah, unfortunate season for them. I think they're going to struggle to come back in any sort of time frame from the National League with the way that the club is at the minute.
Yeah,
which is a shame. Carlisle finished in 23rd. I agree. I think a lot of people expect much better from Carlisle.
They got relegated from League One last season, and the fan base there is immense. They've got a great set of fans. They've gone through managers like nobody's business this season. I mean, one encouraging thing for Carlisle is that Mark Hughes has decided to stay with the club.
Yeah, I agree.
which I think is brilliant of him as a person, because he could have just walked away. To be quite honest, I mean, for your talented non-league footballer, if Carlisle go to, because they're going to be a massive club in the National League, they're
They'll
going
have
to
some
probably
pulling power,
be the
won't
biggest club. They'll have some pulling power, so I think they might have a chance of coming back. But as far as 24-25 it's been a disaster.
Yeah, that was probably one of the easiest ones to allocate or categorise this season. Next up, Newport County. I think we had them as a mid-table team, so I was leaning towards D, underachieved.
Massively underachieved. They survived, which is any League Two club's initial, initial expectation is to survive, obviously.
Yeah.
But they've not done well at all. They've survived with the skin of the teeth. And I mean, there've been two clubs there in Morecambe and Carlisle that have been so bad. That's possibly one of the reasons they've survived.
Yeah.
It's been a massive underachievement.
Yeah, I'm with Neil on this one. Low D, high E for Newport. Had they been in Carlisle's position in 23rd, it'd have been dead set on E for me. Accrington Stanley. They were relegated last season from League One into League Two. What are you thinking for these, mate?
I think D again. I honestly do, because I expected more Iraqi, because they're normally like mid-table or above mid-table in League Two. I mean, they were a League One staple for a decade.
Yeah.
So
to drop down and then be close to dropping again. Yeah.
The drop-off has been continuous from relegation to nearly relegation again. So D.
It's almost like Coleman was holding that club together and keeping them ticking over, wasn't it? So I agree with D for that. On to Tranmere Rovers.
Again, I was tempted to put Tranmere in E.
I'd agree with you with E.
Yeah, because they're a big League Two club, and Nigel Adkins, it just didn't work at all.
No, it didn't. No.
He's quite high profile.
Yeah.
They've got problems recruiting in the summer. A lot of players that are at Tranmere now have been there donkey's years, and they've underperformed to an extent. But Andy Crosby has saved them. Without a doubt, he's saved them, because they looked dead and buried at one time. So they had some really decent form at the back end of the season. But to finish as low as they did, I mean, I predicted them for playoffs, which shows what I know. No, it's been a terrible season, really, for Tranmere.
Yeah. Staying on that theme for terrible seasons. Next up is MK Dons, and I'm on E for them. I think
we had them as champions.
Yeah, we did. We thought they had the squad capable of really taking it to this division. And it's just not worked, has it? I think Jonathan said it was quite a lot of a team of individuals. There was a lot of shaking up and stuff going on off the field, which kind of destroyed any sort of momentum on it.
I think Jonathan said it again, is that the Williamson experiment didn't work.
Yeah.
And subsequently, they tried hard to get out of the mess that they were in, but they've been inconsistent, and the squad on paper is a top 7 League Two squad.
Yeah.
We've got some fine footballers there, but it's just not worked. I mean, they survived fairly comfortably, don't get me wrong, but the expectations there should be way higher than bottom half of League Two.
So Jonathan was hoping to jump on today, but he's at work. But he did send me a message through a couple of days ago. He said, "Morning, mate. Just thought I'd write a few words for MK Dons ahead of the League Two review. I'd grade as an E, so he's agreed with us. Every pundit, pod, influencer has been left with huge egg on their face on the pitch at the stadium. MK, five managers this season, players with talent, no doubt, but no togetherness. I'm hoping and praying this off-season everything falls into place. New pitch, updated training facilities, fingers crossed, a manager that can get us out of this league. I'm putting huge faith in Ian that next season Paul Warne can turn the ship away from the ice. So that's what
I actually think he can. I actually think he's exactly the sort of guy that MK needs.
Yeah.
I expect MK to do well next season.
Is that the kiss of death? Because we expected him to do well this season.
Well, yeah, true enough.
Next up, mate, Harrogate.
I'm going to put Harrogate in C because they do it every season. They flirt with relegation, and then Simon Weaver pulls a rabbit out of the hat, and they survive. They've had some god-awful results. They've had some god-awful performances, but also they've had some stunning wins.
Yeah.
They've had some really stunning wins. And to be honest, I mean, Harrogate Town's expectations has got to be just to survive as an EFL club. And they do it every season, and I take my hat off to them. I think they've achieved their expectations, and it's been a okay season, really. What do you think now?
I agree, mate. I think, like you say, their expectation as a club with the resources that they've got would be to survive, and they've done it fairly comfortably, haven't they? There's a few teams below them, a little bit of a cushion between them and the drop. I think maybe high C, low B, but obviously we've only got a certain amount of categories, so I think expectation achieved for me. Lovely stuff. On to Gillingham. For me, I think these have underachieved this season.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think we had them quite high up in the playoffs, if not close to the top three.
And a solid, well-run club. It's just not happened.
For whatever reason, it's just not quite clicked this season. And to finish 17th in League Two, I think Matt Gill's in the blood. He's been disappointed as the season's gone on. Seeing his frustration in the vlogs that he's been doing. They've got to turn it around next season, haven't they?
By the way, Matt's vlogs in Gill's in the vlog are excellent, absolutely excellent.
Yeah. Neil said better since Ainsworth came in.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Potentially next season they can build on that and push on.
You see, there's been some good recruitments of managers in League Two. What with Ainsworth coming in, I mean, he's going to make Gillingham into sort of like 2025's Wickham. Horrible to play against. No, every team will know they've been in a game, and he'll get results. He'll get results. Yeah.
That's all that matters in football, isn't it? Results.
It is.
Next up in 16th was Barrow. Where are they? They're there. Where are you fancying Barrow?
Well, I'd say it achieved expectation. I think C. It's been a steady season. It's not been spectacular. But again, as Harrogate, they're a very small club. They've not been in the EFL, back in the EFL for very long. And they've done okay. They've done the competitive, they score goals, they concede a lot of goals. But having said that, they're pretty entertaining to watch. So, achieve expectations, a solid C there.
Yeah, I mean, last couple of seasons, at the start of this season, they were kind of flirting up and around the playoffs, weren't they, for a little bit? Last season,
I don't think they've got the resources up there to maintain it, for a full season. They have done very well with a low budget,
Yeah, so I'd agree with that. Mid-table, League Two, with the resources that they've got and everything, I think is decent. And playoffs is probably one of those where if it's there, grasp it with both hands and go for it. But League One would certainly be punching above their weight.
Yeah, I think that's right.
In 15th was Cheltenham. I'm leaning for a C for Cheltenham. I know they got relegated last season, But I
Again,
think it's probably one where they wanted to kind of just readjust to being in the division below, stabilise a little bit.
A little bit comparison to Rotherham.
Yeah.
Drop down to a new division. They needed to consolidate, and they did.
Yeah.
Again, if they're a club with not much in the way of resources, they haven't got a lot of money. They're competitive. They've done pretty well. Yeah, see.
Yeah. League Two is easy, isn't it? On to Fleetwood. Where are you fancying these in?
I'm going to go D, unfortunately, for Fleetwood.
Okay.
Because I expected more of them this season. Because, again, didn't they come down?
They did.
It's my age, by the way. I thought they'd do better. They've got one or two decent players up there at Fleetwood, and I thought they'd do. I thought they'd probably be top 10, but they've just fell a little bit short. Obviously, they've had off-field issues. Didn't the chairman go to prison?
I think he did, yeah. Or there was allegations about certain things. Not going to get involved on here.
No. From a legal point of view, there's none of us got any money, so yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming for Fleetwood.
Yeah. We've got Luca, MK fan in the chat. Let us know, mate. We've allocated MK as an E for their season. Do you agree with that or not? And if you don't, let us know why. Next up is Crewe. So beat us in the playoffs last season. Probably expected playoffs again this season. Finished 13th.
Yeah, D.
I'm going for D.
Yeah. Lee Bell, for 2/3 of the season, were doing a great job, and just everything fell apart for whatever reason. I mean, like you said, they got into the playoffs final last season. They were expected to kick on from that, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, they're a good side, don't get me wrong. When they're on form, they're very good. But for 2/3 of the season, they looked nailed on for the playoffs, and it just all fell away.
Yeah.
I don't know why it all fell away, because it's not like they had they didn't have mass outgoings in January. It just didn't happen.
No. Not sure why that it went that way. But unfortunately for Crewe, it did, and finished top of the bottom half in 13th.
Oh, I know all about that.
Finishing in 12th, just above them, was Swindon Town. See, I'm struggling with this one. I think probably mid-table. I think the expectation was probably push on for playoffs at Swindon. They're a well-supported club.
Where do you think they'd have been if Ian Holloway hadn't taken over? Because he's transformed that club.
Yeah.
I mean, the form over the second half of the season has been playoffs.
Yeah, and this is where I'm struggling with them, because near the start of the season, they were definitely underachieving, almost falling into dreadful season. But then, like I said, the second half of the season really pushed on. So, will expectation have shifted halfway through the season? Maybe.
I think he would have shifted, yeah. But I still think C is fair.
Yeah.
Because of the job that Holloway's done there, he's done. And to be honest, I mean, if I were to pick one League Two club to watch next season, it'd be Swindon Town. So that means they'll get relegated.
Yeah, that's probably one of the few teams in League Two where I've really kind of been torn between two categories, because I think at the start of the season, you ask any Swindon fan, and they'd probably we're wanting to push for top 7. So to finish in 12th, it is underachieving, isn't it? And especially from the start of the season,
it could have been far worse.
Yeah, So we'll leave C. We'll try and populate C a little bit more. Moving on to Bromley. I think I know where you're going to be putting these in.
I'm going to put them B. I think in the first season back, no, probably A, to be honest with you.
I was thinking A. I think they performed very well. I think they were written off by many before the ball was kicked.
I mean, the job the job Andy Woodman's done there in the first season in the Football League ever, in the Football League, the complete newbies, they've done exceptionally well. I saw them on the first day when they won 2-0 at Harrogate, and they looked solid. They look. Every player knew his job. I've seen them 3 times actually this season. I saw them at Harrogate. I saw them at Notts County. They got a 1-1 draw there, and then I saw them at Barrow, and they got a 3-3 draw. Entertaining. Whether not, I think they might hold on to Michael Cheek because of his age. I think he's 31.
In his latter years, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think his age is against him for moving up the pyramid, but what a job he's done there.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier on about poachers, about goal poachers. Cheek, he's a cheat code, isn't he, in League Two?
Yeah. I'm with Jordan on this. The 2 games against Bromley this season were just the most infuriating, frustrating games to watch as a Donny fan. I think we had 33 shots at goal against maybe 4 or 5, and we lost both games 1-0.
Yeah. But that's what Bromley do. I mean, they're defensively sound.
Yeah. Oh, Neil said that Cheek is out of contract, so maybe moving on.
Yeah, maybe a League One club. Who knows?
Who knows?
But having said that, he's a legend there, isn't he? He's a legend there. And that will go a long way.
Superb season for Bromley.
Yeah.
Next up in 10th was Colchester. I think they've had a decent season, performed well for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
After last season, I think
the Cowleys are gradually and slowly getting their ideas across there.
Yeah.
And they've struggled for a couple of years. They've got some decent talent there. They've got some pace.
They have.
They're very competitive, and they've had a pretty good season. So yeah,
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think after last season, had some real difficult, a really difficult season last season. But like you just said, Ian, the Cowleys are starting to really get the philosophy and their ideas across. I think if they carry on improving in a few areas, there could be a force next season, and build on that and look at a top 7 finish. Next up in 9th was Grimsby, but these were very, very close to making playoffs, weren't they?
I'm going to put Grimsby A.
Yeah.
Because they've struggled the last few seasons, just keeping their heads above water. But Artell has got them playing some decent football. Unfortunately, I think the thing that killed Grimsby is their inconsistency.
Yeah.
They've pulled some superb results on, but they've backed that up with silly defeats against teams that they should do better against.
Yeah.
But I think Mariners fans will be pleased with that season, even though they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. And similar to Colchester, really, I think they'll just be wanting to use this season as a bit of a building block to move on to next season and try and break that top 7. In 8th, so the final place before the playoffs, was Salford. I think
I'm tempted to go B here because they perform well.
Okay.
I think they're everybody's near club in the League Two, the mid-table, below mid-table. But say what you like about their manager, Mr. Robinson. He's got them performing decent.
Yeah.
And they're a match for any club on the day. I saw them get a 1-1 against Chesterfield, which were pretty early season, and I was quite impressed with them. So I think they perform well. They've had a good season.
Yeah. James is in the chat. Is normally in the chat through on other videos as the season's gone on. Newport County fan. He says we should be bottom of D tier. We're really close to a dreadful season. So you've agreed with what we said. You've literally just avoided being graded in a dreadful season because you survived. Probably wanted to be mid-table. Just to survive, probably underachieved, but just above E. So glad that you agree with that. Neil said Carl Robinson's not my favourite, but he is doing a great job. And John said that I think Salford have progressed somewhat. Yeah, they have, and similar to Colchester and Grimsby, it's all about kind of using this as a building block and pushing on next season. On to Chesterfield. So promoted last season, absolutely battered Donny both games. For me, I think they've performed really well, almost overachieved.
I wouldn't say overachieved because I expected them after promotion. I expected them to do well.
Did you expect
I think
playoffs?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, A+. Yeah.
Because I didn't expect some playoffs. I thought a solid performance in League Two, but not playoffs. But I'm kind of between the two.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I'd put them in A because they didn't actually achieve promotion, but they've got some fantastic players there. That Dobra would walk into any League One side. Defensively, they can be found out, but after promotion, superb season.
Yeah. Neil's a little bit lower than us. He's gone B for Chesterfield perform well, but that's because they let themselves down in the playoffs. Yeah, they didn't really show up, did they?
Yeah, they didn't show up.
But I think as the season goes, would Chesterfield fans have expected playoffs at the start of the season? I think maybe a strong season.
Possibly not. I mean, I think one or two would probably be happy with top 10, but they got 7th on the last day. But unfortunately, they just didn't perform in the playoffs, did they at all?
No. We'll go A-, B+ for Chesterfield. Neil said they showed up when they played us. Yeah, they showed up when they played us in all both games. Absolutely battered us.
They probably did play better against the better teams.
Yeah.
Why
they struggled against Walsall, probably. On to Notts County. I've seen that John's in the chat. Where are you putting yourselves, John? Obviously, I think playoffs were probably an expectation at the start of the season, if not top 3.
I'd agree with that. They did far better. They've done far better this season than they did last season when they did a Walsall and just fell away.
Yeah.
This season's been better, but for a club of Notts' standing, they should be in a higher league than League One, League Two.
I'm thinking C-, D+, really. For
it is an underachievement. But the thing is, I mean, sacking the manager the day after they got beat in the playoffs.
It's a kick in knack, isn't it?
It is really. I mean, I've got them to playoffs. It's not good enough. You're sacked. Oh.
Yeah. And maybe that shows what the expectation was at Notts County. Maybe promotion was the goal and the target, and they've not achieved that. And as a manager, if you've not achieved the objectives set out by your superiors, you've got to expect.
It's a bit like what Grant McCann said at the back end of last season when they lost to Crewe. Says promotion is an absolute must.
Yeah,
and he delivered.
So I'd have expected to see a similar thing happen had we dropped into the playoffs and lost in the semi-final. I'd have expected seeing Grant leave.
Yeah.
To be fair. But yeah, it's difficult one, isn't it? Next up is Wimbledon. So winning the playoffs. Before we allocate them, John's coming. We hope to get further than we did, but I think that it didn't go well at the end. It was promotion that was the target. So I think maybe underachieved for Notts County if promotion was the target. But yeah, it's
hard. It's hard to put them in D.
Yeah, I think D would be harsh.
Yeah. I think Wimbledon. Is. I want to put him in A+. I really do. Because
bang him in there.
Yeah, exactly. Because they've done incredibly well. I mean, defensively, they've been absolutely out of this world. I mean, they've got like I said before, went on Matty Stevens' goals have dried up a little bit, but they're the masters of the 1-0 win. They're absolute masters. Like we used to say it a few years ago, 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's been 1-0 to the Wimbledon. Another small club that's massively overachieved, and I don't know what the hell is going to happen in League One. It might be too much for them. They might thrive. Who knows? But Johnny Jackson's done a fantastic job there. I take me hat off to him.
Yeah, I think what pushes them into the A+ for me is the fact that they've won promotion. I think the expectation would have been to kind of push for playoffs, maybe. So had they made the playoffs and maybe lost today, they'd have performed well if they'd have lost the semi-final. But because they've gone that extra step and won promotion and now a League One team, I think, yeah, they've overachieved, haven't they?
Yeah.
This next one, this is going to end up calling. Try and forget where they were, how many points clear they were, and where they finished up. Where they finished 4th in the playoffs. What are we grading Walsall? Because they could literally fall into any category at this point. Because
at the start
of the season,
I think you've put them in the right one.
The start of the season, I had them as mid-table.
Yeah. I mean, they're a fairly substantial club at West Midlands. I know they're surrounded by some massive clubs there. But having said that, they're a standalone club, a decent lower division club, the League One, League Two, whatever. But I think playoffs is the minimum they expected. They got there. Forget what's happened before. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, I think if I were a Walsall fan, I'd be thinking about jumping out the window now. I mean,
if you're a Walsall fan thinking of jumping out a window, please don't. It's only football. There's another season to go through.
Hypothetically. But from where you can't not think about where they were. You can't.
Jordan's hit the nail on the head. This is where I'm saying they could go into any category. With Nathan Lowe, A+, they were absolutely smashing it, 17 points clear. But without him, they've just fell off a cliff, haven't they?
Do you know what the thing that tickled me about Nathan Lowe? They were scoring goals for fun for Walsall. Stoke brought him back, recalled him, and never played him, or hardly ever played him.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
So it's probably Stoke City's fault that Walsall didn't get promoted.
Yeah, but no, I think probably C is where they're going to land and kind of just settle in our grading. But yeah, for me, start of the season up to the turn of the year, they were overachieving. They were looking like they were going to win the league at a canter. They were making League Two look very, very easy. But then from the turn of the year beyond, they've just, I think they only had to win 3 games or 4 games to guarantee promotion, and they just couldn't get it over the line. And Bradford, Port Vale, and Donny ended up making up the top 3. So yeah, I think they're going to have to land in C for me. But they literally could have been in any single one of them categories for different periods of this season just gone. Neil is still in the chat. Let us know where you want Bradford put in. Ian, what are you thinking?
I'm going A, because they're a massive club. They would have expected promotion. They got promotion. They've done extremely well, but I'm not surprised, because Bradford are too big a club to be in League Two, and they've been in League Two far too long. Yeah. But I've got to give Graham Alexander his dues. He's performed brilliantly there. And also, when you consider that they've had a third of the season without Andy Cook, yet they still scored goals. They've done exceptionally well. I'm absolutely delighted to see him back in League One.
Yeah. I agree with you on A for Bradford, performed very well. I know Neil's just said that 6th season in League Two, so we expected to go up. I think we may have had them down as playoffs again in our pre-season predictions.
I think we did, yeah.
So for them to go that one step further and break into the top 3, and earn promotion without having to go through the playoffs, especially with Cook out and Sarkovic and Patterson out for long periods, like Neil's just said. I think they've performed well with what they've been dealt.
It just shows you the strength of the squad when you're missing big players like that, and it's not really mattered because the players that have come in have performed extremely well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Next up is Port Vale, finished in second. Where are we putting Port Vale? So
I'm going to put right at the top, absolutely right at the top, because they've done exceptionally well. They're a greatly, how can I put it, a really well run club. They've got a family, it's like a family run club, and they've been a joy to watch at times this season. Vale. I didn't expect them to be as high as they were. I think playoffs I probably expected them to be. They were looking like champions up until the last day.
Yeah.
Also, they had one or two iffy results towards the end of the season that held them back a bit. But any Vale fan to finish runners-up in League Two, they're going to be delighted. They've had a fantastic season, and they'll be a welcome addition to League One.
Yeah. See, for Vale, I'm leaning more towards A for the similar kind of arguments that we had with Bradford, a team that we kind of expected to be up in the playoffs.
In and around it, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that they've gone that one step further and won promotion with a very good squad, I think for me, probably performed very well. I think
I'll give you this one. Because I'll give you this one in A. Yeah,
I think
but they've had an exceptional season.
Yeah, very very good season. But I think very very similar to Bradford's in terms of kind of expectation pre-season and what they delivered. Had they won the championship, I'd have probably agreed with you with A+. Having said that, though, I'm slotting Donny in the exact same category because our expectation was to be promoted. Our expectation was to win the title, and
tick.
We've achieved the expectation, but I think it's very harsh to put us in C.
Oh no! No, to be honest, I mean, they've addressed. I mean, I would say for long periods of the season, Rovers were quite inconsistent, but they addressed that and they came good at exactly the right time.
Yeah, it's been a very strange League Two season, 2024-25. There was, other than Walsall when they were running away with it, it seemed like nobody really wanted to go up or win it or be in the playoffs. It was incredibly tight throughout the season. I think for Donny,
that's what made it one of the, probably the best league to actually watch, because anything could happen in any game.
Yeah. Jordan, A+, Dan, come on. I try and be as unbiased as possible on the show. Everyone knows I'm a Donny fan. I want to win every game. I want to see us win trophies. I want us to be as high as possible. But I can't put us in A+. I don't think we've overachieved in terms of winning the championship. I think we performed very well to win it, but I think it was anybody's to win.
It was, and it was just that rush of consistency late on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, over the season, we didn't drop below fifth, I don't think. So we were always kind of fighting in and around it. But I look back and there were so many opportunities where we could have wrapped the league up and the title long before the final day.
I mean, I'm not criticising. It might sound like it, but some of your idiotic home defeats that nobody expected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, League Two was amazing this season. It was really good.
Thoroughly enjoyed all three divisions, to be honest.
Well, I have to be honest, yeah. Apart from the first 2/3 of the season at New York Stadium under Evans.
Yeah. It came good though, mate, didn't it?
In the end, it did, yeah.
That's it. That's all 72 teams allocated given an area, a grading. We may have got it miles wrong with some. If you're a fan of any one of the 72 teams, and you disagree with it, by all means, get it in the comments down below. But this is what myself and Ian and Jake last week have kind of agreed on, and the chat has helped as well. Fantastic seasons for Oxford, Bristol City, Burnley, Reading, Leyton Orient, and Wimbledon, in our opinion. Very good seasons for Pompey, Millwall, Leeds, Burton, Stockport, Wrexham, Birmingham, Bromley, Grimsby, Chesterfield, Bradford, Port Vale, and Donny. Middling for Wednesday, Blackburn, Coventry, Sunderland, Sheffield United, Charlton, Wickham, Colchester, Salford. It's achieved expectation for Derby, QPR, Swansea, Crawley, Northampton, Exeter, Wigan, Stevenage, Rotherham, Lincoln, Blackpool, Harrogate, Barrow, Cheltenham, Swindon, Notts County, and Walsall. And then improvements needed for Plymouth, Hull, Preston, Stoke, Watford, Norwich, Middlesbrough, West Brom, Cambridge, Peterborough, Mansfield, Huddersfield, Bolton, Morecambe, Newport County, Accrington, Gillingham, Fleetwood, and Crewe. And massive improvements needed for the ones that I haven't mentioned: Cardiff, Luton, Shrewsbury, Bristol Rovers, Barnsley, Carlisle, Tranmere, and MK Dons. That put me badge knowledge to the test, didn't it?
I'd have been on you if you'd have got any of them wrong.
But football is an opinion-based sport. This is why we love it. So we are more than open to people saying why they think teams should have been lower or higher. But we've thoroughly enjoyed bringing this to you all season. Hopefully,
we'll get it all wrong again in August.
Yeah, that's it. Before we do finish and round up, though, we do have the Fantasy EFL, a little mini league. Here we go. Neil, do we know who won the playoff fantasy league? We are finishing it on this. Not a great one for me for the mini league. I only got 163 points, but everybody got over 100 points, which is good. Liam Martin, Plymouth Town, finished bottom. As we go up the table, if you see yourself, well done on finishing above mid-table.
And I beat Bailey.
That's it. If you finished above 8th, you beat Bailey, who has won absolutely everything we've ever done. But going all the way to the top, he's cooking on gas, Neil. There we go. Told you I'd win it.
You did.
His boy finished second as well, so he must have been trading sort of information. But Neil has got the bragging rights in his house, which is all that you ever want in football, isn't it? Just bragging rights.
Exactly. Well done.
Lovely stuff. So one last look at at our grading for the season. That'll be on the socials as well. And then to finish off, this is our our pre-season predictions. Absolute dreadful. So if you've watched the last two, you'll know that we allocate 1 point for every position away from our prediction. The table finally finished 144 points. That is not very good. That's the worst one out of the 3 divisions. Championship, we got 132. League One, we got 120. League Two, we got 144. But it's not all bad. Last season, we got 148. So we've actually improved on League Two.
Yeah, we're getting better.
Marginally.
And also, massive apologies to Grimsby.
Yeah, we had them as relegated. They finished in 9th, 14 places away from where we had them. Newport, we weren't far off with, only 1 point away. There's some dreadful picks out there. Walsall, we had mid-table, finished in 4th. Tranmere, we had as playoff contenders. They finished down in 20th. We had Chesterfield was having quite a good season, to be fair. Sorry, Neil, we had you in 7th. Notts County, we got spot on in 6th. Port Vale, we got spot on in 2nd. We had MK Dons as title winners, so that's probably our worst prediction of this season, 18 places away from where we actually predicted them. So we will try and not give you the kiss of death next season, MK Don fans. We had Donny in 3rd and we finished 1st, so we'll do all right. Don't just have me in this, Neil. It was a joint effort. There was 4 of us on the stream at the time that all agreed with his position.
I'm culpable as well.
But if you've enjoyed it, we will do the same next season. We'll predict all 3 divisions and see how far away we are when it all finishes this time next year. But yeah, improvements needed. Shame on the four amigos. Shame indeed. Lovely. So, any final words in on the final episode of the 2024-25 season?
It's been an incredible season. It's been a really enjoyable season. I've enjoyed every podcast we've done. We always say, it's therapy. It's time away from the family to get things off your chest, make you feel a little bit better. Summer now, to me, I mean, I'm already looking at pre-season friendlies. It can't go. I mean, July, when they start again, it can't come quick enough for me, but have a rest over the summer. To keep supporting your clubs and keep waiting. I think it's June 26th that the fixtures come out. Not like I'm counting or anything. But yeah, it's been a great season. I've enjoyed every one. And best wishes to everybody.
And I echo that, Ian. I wish Morecambe and Carlisle all the best next season in the National League. Hope you return to the EFL as soon as possible. But for everybody else, obviously Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland, all the best in the Premier League. For your fans, we hope not to see you sooner rather than later. We hope you stay up there. But for everybody else, it's all about, like Ian says, go away in the summer, rest, recuperate, and then get back to supporting your club in whatever division it is that we find ourselves. Hopefully, it's a positive season for the core group of people that watch us. So we see Newport fans, Notts County fans, Bradford fans, Donny fans, Rotherham fans, Sheff Wednesday fans. So yeah, hopefully positive seasons for all of us so that we can have positive therapy next season. But it will be same time, same place on a Sunday, all being well. Hopefully, yeah. We never know what's going to happen, but the plan is to continue this while ever people are wanting it. And we appreciate that you spend an hour or so of your time every week listening to us ramble on about football. So we will have one quick look through the chat. Jordan said, roll on League One, some good Northern away days. There is indeed. Yeah, there is. What an ending for Bradford in such an exciting way. I'm going to miss the excitement of the weekly buzz of football. But you get to go shopping with the missus. What more do you want?
Yeah.
John said, this podcast is part of the week. I'll have to go and watch cricket from now on. Neil, League One, baby. Until the new season, that is. Don't ever stop this show, lads. And hopefully...
No intention.
Yeah. Hope fully under a new dynamic manager for Notts County. So, yeah, new dynamic manager. League Two could be yours for the taking for sure. So, yeah, all that's left for me to do. Shopping can do one, Dan. All that's left for me to say is thank you all for watching all season. We appreciate every single one of you. 103 episodes done. That is incredible. Join us for episode 104, as that'll be probably previewing season 2025-26. So if you're watching this throughout the week, big thumbs up on it, comments in the section down below, subscribe to myself, Ian, and the other lads who are in the description down below. Have a great summer, and we will see you in the next one.
Cheers.